Alright, so 28 years later, directed by Danny Boyle, written by Alex Garland, those two have come back to create the sequel to 28 Days Later and technically 28 Weeks Later, even though it is barely mentioned in the film. It is starring Alfie Williams, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Ray Fiennes. Just getting right out the gate, I'm gonna say the zombie stuff in this movie, between the kills, the evolution of the lore of the zombies, the visceralness of the zombies, all of that is peak zombie filmmaking. Easily some of the best zombie stuff I've seen since Train to Busan, I'd say. That was the last time where I was genuinely scared of zombies. Not only do they continue to be very fast and brutal zombies, but they've evolved in a way where they're much more animalistic. None of them are wearing clothes, which does make it significantly scarier. There's now an alpha zombie and a fat zombie and a regular zombie, so they have a couple of different types. And you can definitely tell that there was some real thought and effort put into how the zombies moved and interacted with the world and each other. Honestly, good zombie stuff. So that is easily the best part of this movie, is the zombie stuff. But there's a whole nother movie wrapped around it. How is that? Well, hit or miss, if I'm being honest. So the story of this film is kind of two parts. The first part is Spike kind of coming to age and interacting with his father. It's a really good father-son story. It's where Spike goes out into the mainland for the first time, he interacts with zombies for the first time, gets his first kill. It's kind of an upbringing of Spike in this world. It's really well done. If I'm being honest, the first third of this movie is easily the best third of this movie. If I was just judging the movie on that section, it's easily like a 9, if not a 10 out of 10. There's a couple scenes with the zombies that are truly edge-of-your-seat moments. One in particular that I thought was the best zombie scene, when there's an alpha chasing them, and I won't say anymore, but you'll know the scene I'm talking about. It is just breakneck. It is just so intense. The second third of this movie revolves more around Spike and his mom. His mom is sick and they don't know what. They find out there's a doctor out in the mainland, so he takes his mom and he has to go find his doctor. I won't say any more on that. This was still a very good section of the film. There's a lot of zombie stuff. You find out more about the past, about Spike and his mom and his dad. You find out a little more about this town that they're in. And you do find out about the world that they're in. The first movie kind of set up that the world is still going on around Britain, and this is just an isolated incident, and this definitely does confirm that. It's not really a spoiler if you saw the first movie, but the world is indeed still going. There's planes, there's boats, there's things going all around this island, but if you're on this island, specifically Britain, but this little island that they're on, you are quarantined. You're not allowed to leave, and if you get stuck there, you're stuck there. There's no escape. And I don't necessarily like that. I feel like in the real world situation, we wouldn't just quarantine an entire island of people, probably millions of people. I feel like we would definitely come together as a human race and help these people out. So I don't necessarily agree with the way that went in the story. I think it would play out much differently in real life, but this isn't real life, this is a movie. And honestly, I do respect Danny Boyle, Alex Garland. I respect their decision to write that in as part of the story. I won't really say what happens in the last third of the movie because that will definitely get into spoilers. That is easily the worst part of the movie. Specifically, the ending, I know they kind of set it up in the beginning. It's kind of comes full circle, but personally, I hate the ending. I've seen some people love it, some people hate it. I am in the hate it category. Not only is it just makes a hard right turn and it feels like a completely different movie, but this does another one of those things that like Mission Impossible or Fast X or The Hunger Games. It's an incomplete ending. It's an incomplete story. This story doesn't really end. I mean, it kind of does end the 2/3 mark, but there's still a whole 40 minutes of movie left, and you're just I'm kind of like, okay, where's this gonna go? I'm curious with a few things they set up, and then the ending happens, and it sucks. The ending fucking sucks. I don't think that ruins the movie for me, but it brings it up from here to down here. It really brings the movie down quite a bit. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm not looking forward to the next one. Aaron Taylor Johnson does a really good job in this movie, although it's kind of false advertising. He's really in this movie for the first half, and then he's not utilized for the rest of the film at all. Alfie Williams absolutely nailed it as the kid. You've seen that going around, but he's a great kid actor. Everything he said, I very much believed. And Ray Fiennes, also a great job. He was in the last third or so of this film, and his character is a very unique character. I'm glad that his character exists. They kind of think they're going to go in one way, but it kind of goes in a completely different direction, and I'm okay with that. I think this character is the best character of this film. There's a few interesting things they do with the zombies. I'm not going to ruin it. There was one choice they made that I'm kind of indifferent about. It involves a pregnant zombie, and that's all I'm going to say. And there's some very, very odd editing choices. I'm sure you've heard about the Matrix, like bullet time camera setup. I'll show a picture here. And it's cool. And in the film, it's cool when you're watching it. I don't know why they did it. It doesn't really help it and doesn't really hurt it. It's just kind of there. And I heard a lot of people complain about the iPhone look, how this was filmed with an iPhone almost exclusively. I actually couldn't disagree more. I think the iPhone look helps this movie a lot. I think it gives it a student film-esque look in a good way, like a low production budget, but it really makes you feel like you're there. Like you're experiencing this with the characters. Like they could have just pulled out a phone, because phones do still exist in this world, they proved that. Looks like they could just pull out a phone and clicked record, and like you're there, you're in the movie. I thought the choice to use iPhones as this main camera in this film was a great choice, honestly. So I'm kind of conflicted on how I'm going to score this movie. The first third, peak zombie film. Like some of the best zombie stuff you will ever see, and I've seen in quite some time. And the middle part, the second third, is good. It's really good. It's him and his mom dealing with this unknown sickness she has. It's very touching. There's still some really good zombie stuff. It's just the last third, specifically the ending. This movie doesn't get better. It only gets worse, unfortunately. And with all that being said, I'm gonna put this film, I'm gonna put it at a 6 out of 10, unfortunately. You know, the first third would be a 9, the second third would be like a 7 or 8. But man, that last third and the ending alone, it just brought the movie down so much. So the whole movie, I'm gonna give a 6 out of 10. I think it's a little better than 28 Weeks Later, just because that movie just felt like a generic Hollywood movie. But it's not nearly as good as 28 Days Later. It's got a few interesting ideas with the zombies. There's a couple of really good kills. The Alpha in particular has some crazy kills. But beyond that, beyond being just a good zombie movie, it doesn't do it. If you've seen 28 Years Later, let me know what you thought of it down below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want. Catch y'all later.